Now it's time to walk with the Unholy Icon, DarKen GraVes, as he enters the cemetery gates.
I'm the reason you can't sleep at night! Get ready to dance with the devil himself. Unholy am I'm DarKen GraVes.
DarKen has your number. I know because I'm buff, but DarKen has the stuff.
What's going on, everybody? IW Universe, DarKen GraVes here, the Unholy Icon, here with the Cemetery Gates, and yeah, tonight's going to be a special show here. We're awaiting the guest of honor. We're going to give him a few minutes. He had some emergency business to take care of, but I thank you all for joining me. So yeah, give it about 5 minutes. If anybody's watching, if you can comment, tell me how I'm sounding here. For those of you watching in the IW Locker Room, I'm also live right now on my YouTube channel, which you can go just type in DarKen GraVes in the search bar, and you'll find it. Also on my Cemetery Gates page. I'm interested in knowing. Hello, sweetheart. How are you? The one and only Demon Queen, Amy GraVes. Just got through watching Thomas Austin's video a while ago. It reminded me of that part on Forrest Gump, you know, whenever they're on the shrimp boat. And he says, Lieutenant Dan, he was mad. Big shards of phlegm flying out. And yeah, I knew he wasn't going nowhere. I kind of antagonized him a little bit in DM last night. So, folks, we're just waiting. If you want to say hello, say hello. We're waiting on the man to arrive. And he should be here any second. Amy, how's my sound doing? Am I getting any echoes or any feedback? Sound normal? This is the new studio here. This took some time to put together. A lot of these posters here, well, all these posters you see here were actually in the arena the night that these events happened. I'm gonna be giving away some of them for trivia questions. I hate the Ultimate Warrior. I can't stand him, but I do have a personally autographed picture of him that I'll be giving away maybe tonight. If you choose to answer the trivia question. The only ones that I won't give away are my stings. My personally autographed stings. So we are waiting. Let me see where the man of the hour is. Wonder if Osiris is going to be watching tonight. Seen some really good promos today. Bubba Boudreaux, Douglas O'Shea, of course Rocky T. Adam Cage, who, always drops something good, as does Ethan Carnage. I tell you, I like this direction that I like this direction IW is headed. It feels it really feels like old school. Yes, it does. Okay, he said he'll be here in just a minute. I will say one thing. Speaking of Douglas O'Shea and Billy O'Brien, those dudes, they're some of my favorites to watch. They don't really get the respect that they deserve, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Whether or not that matters or not, I really don't care. So, all right. How about this? Man, I hate to do this because I love this. I love this poster. But to get things kind of rolling here. One second. Keep them coming. I really would hate to get rid of this poster, but it didn't happen often. This is from a house show. Don't worry about that. This is from a house show live at the Aloha Stadium, Saturday, December 14th. This is one of the only ones I have that's a reprint, and the only way you can tell it's a reprint is because it says WWE title match. But it is a reproduction of the exact poster that was in the arena that night. Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair for the WWF title. You also had tag team title match: Legion of Doom versus Natural Disasters, the Rockers versus the Nasty Boys. Yeah, I'll give this one away tonight, and I'll mail it to you if you get the trivia question right. The trivia question being, name the town in which Ric Flair lost the WWF Championship to Bret the Hitman Hart. First person that can get that right without Googling it. And trust me, I'm an old school hacker. I'll know if you Googled it or not. What's the town in which Bret Hart defeated Ric Flair for the WWF title? And there he is. This man may know the answer to this. Let's bring him on. He is a legend. He's back. He's on fire. He's the man. He's the man they call.
Yes, sir. Pitbull. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Apologize for being a little tardy.
You're
Getting
all
everything
right.
set up. I wanted to come on here really quickly because I'm going to transfer to my laptop. I'm on my phone right now. So
Okay.
I just wanted to come on.
Maybe you can answer the trivia question.
Go for it. What's up? Talk to me.
Giving away my post. It's an old school one. It's a reproduction, and I will mail it out to whoever can get it right. Right. What was the name of the town in which Bret Hart defeated Ric Flair for his first world title, WWF world title? Bobby Heenan used to scream it all the time.
I want to say because I could be wrong, but I want to. Was that or was that a match he had with 1-2-3 Kid?
That was a great match.
Yeah. Okay. Because kind of a segue. The match that I'm talking about, for those that don't know, he had wrestled 1-2-3 Kid, and it was in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, where I used to live at. And that's the only reason why I know or still remember that match, because it was right there in East Stroudsburg and PA, where I used to live at back in the day. But now going back to the trivia question.
You're close. It's up north.
It's up north, right? Saskatoon.
Oh,
Was it Saskatoon? Is it Saskatoon?
it was Saskatoon.
Okay. Because I kept thinking, and I'm like, Saskatoon, because you said Bobby Heenan always said it, and I'm like, wait a minute, what would he? And it's like, okay, yeah, that's right, Senator Saskatoon. So I remember now.
So yeah, you got yourself a poster, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, now give me a second. I am. Did you send me an email? Do I have any? I'm trying to see.
It's in
You
your.
sent it to me on Messenger.
Yeah.
Okay, you sent it to me to Messenger. Okay.
Right.
So I want to get this, so that way I can like fully lock in. You could see me a lot better, and then we could really get this show going. But I like the whole setup, man. I like how you have everything set up. The ROH,
Thank you, man.
The Ring of Honor. What is that? A banner? The banner? Yes.
Yeah. It took some time. It took some time. I got some of the stuff you can't see. I got to get a bigger cord for my
Right.
camera,
You
but
got
I got
the
action
boy.
figures.
Look at that, man. I used to collect those back in the day.
Old school ECW and then old school Sting there.
Yeah, man. Wow. That's pretty
You got
cool, man.
Can you see the ROH belt from there?
Uh, no, but I can see an old school picture of Sting. A poster of Sting? Is that a poster?
That's actually signed.
Really? So
Yeah.
you're a Sting fan, yes?
Oh yeah, that's my major influence. He was my hero. Still is my hero.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see right around here. That's a cover of Pro Wrestling Illustrated with Sting and Hogan on it, and Sting signed that one for me too.
Really, PWI, bro. I used to subscribe to PWI when I was an early teenager. I used to get the PWIs, and then if I didn't have the subscription, I used to go to the supermarket or the magazine stand in New York City, and I used to pick up the PWI 500, man, just to see who was number one.
I used to do the same thing. Used to go to my local Dale Champs. I know a lot of people's not going to remember Dale Champs, but grocery store.
Those were awesome, bro. I remember my favorite one because my favorite wrestler is Triple H. So it's funny, and I'm sure we'll get into this. I mirrored a lot of my IW career for Triple H. That was like my main inspiration and kind of what I did with that character a bit. It's funny too because like at this point with that character, the mannerisms and even like some of the way that I talk, I got that from like Triple H because like when I was a kid, I was always down with the baby faces, all the good guys. And when Triple H was like really coming into his own as a heel, I was like, wait a minute, I think I like the fucking bad guys more than I like the baby faces. You know what I mean? So it was pretty cool.
I think Sting was the only baby face I really liked. I hated Hogan. I hated Ultimate Warrior.
Interesting.
I like Sting though. Favorite Triple H theme song? You like My Time or you like It's All About the Game?
That's a good question, man. That's a damn good question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. So when he first came out as a heel, because I'm also into like wrestlers, and the attires. I was really into attires back then, especially. So like when wrestlers would wear like certain attires, I would be like, oh my god, like it's so cool. So I liked a lot of Triple H's attire when he was in DX, and he had like the 3 H's, but it always had like a color, and like the color was. And it's funny because like as an adult, I finally picked on why his tights, the color scheme, like it had a color, but it went down. And then I realized like, oh shit, like it's the suck it shit. But I never realized the lines kind of go down to the crotch of his thing. And I was like, oh shit, it's like trying to do suck it. So that was cool. When he started transitioning, to answer your question, from DX and he joined the corporate ministry, he had the theme song.
If it broke your heart at WrestleMania.
You know what? I'll answer that. Let me tell you the theme, and then I'll get to that one because I love Triple H, and I know most of his career, so that's definitely something I like to talk about. So, getting to the theme. So he had the instrumental for My Time. That's my all-time favorite, the instrumental, and I think the theme is actually called Higher Brain Pattern, but there's different versions. There's like 3 versions of it. I would say the second one because there's bass to it. Like there's this bass to it, and I'm like, damn, if they could have kept that second version of Higher Brain Pattern and then added the lyrics of My Time, that would have been it right there for me. But
is that one where he says, Jimmy hit me with that Triple H at the beginning? So
the My Time theme is that one you're just talking about. That's like his final theme that he would have until the Motorhead theme. He had themes before that, which a lot of people I remember. Don't remember. Yeah, so he was experimenting with themes, but he had a theme called Higher Brain Pattern, which is just the instrumental of My Time. And when they made it My Time, they just added lyrics from the guy who sang the DX song,
Right.
or did the lyrics for DX. But I would say Higher Brain Pattern version 2, and like I'll send you like a link to that later on, so you can see the video.
Okay.
The Titantron to it, I guess. But now going towards your question about the betrayal of DX at WrestleMania, that was WrestleMania 15, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I remember that WrestleMania for a few reasons. One, at the time, that was definitely the peak. Although I've always remained a fan, but for me, that was my peak fandom of pro wrestling. And for me, being a kid, being very impressionable, wrestling was my escapism. And Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and The Rock, and Austin, and then Sting, and NWO Hogan, and a couple of other guys were like the guys I was really checking for around that time. So I was one of those guys that would like switch between Raw and Nitro, like every, and
Same
I remember, and I remember having I would wheel in another TV, because back then it was those big boxy wooden kind of TVs that were fucking heavy as shit, right?
The big
So I would, exactly. So I'm a little ass skinny frail kid. I would pick up with all my energy, all the strength I had, and put it on this kind of I guess a roller you would call it or something. I would roll the TV with the TV that I had, which was my grandmother's TV, by the way. And she wasn't home at the time, but she was just about to get home. I would roll in the TV and watch both simultaneously, right? So I was checking for all these guys. So at that time, I was really into Triple H and really following the storylines and everything like that. So every time he would be on TV, but wanted to see what Nitro was doing, I would have both TVs. Anyway, that point was when he was feuding with Kane, and they had this storyline where China had joined the corporation. And, I was thinking, and it was expected, was that he was going to beat Kane and China would come, because at that night, Triple H had beaten Kane, and China came back to what I thought was DX that night at WrestleMania. So when X-Pac had the match with Shane McMahon for the European title, I was totally expecting DX to come and make the save, right? So as per usual, we see China come in and Triple H comes into the ring. I'm thinking, oh shit, DX is going to have their moment. They're going to fucking help, the X-Pac's going to win back the title, and we're going to have this amazing moment. And he fucking gut kicks X-Pac and pedigrees him, and I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I was in shock, legitimately. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. I was like, oh my God, what the hell? I couldn't compute it. And then obviously when the Raws kind of happened after that, like it still didn't sink in. I was thinking Triple H is going to say sorry. This has got to be a mistake, and he's going to fucking come back to DX. And lo and behold, was I wrong for like the rest of my life, because he never really came back, in that way. So
it was a turning point. It was definitely.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Man. And you put the two TVs together. I did the VCR thing. I would record Raw in my room and watch it, because I was a WCW guy first, and then I'd watch Nitro live, and then I'd go back and rewind my tape that I just recorded of Raw and watch it.
Oh man, you know what I used to do with some of my friends? We used to have like duties back in grade school and middle school a little bit too, but in grade school was the peak of this. So what me and my friends would do was we would have kind of jobs assigned to us where, Jose, you record all the WCW Nitros on VHS, and then another buddy of mine would record the Raws, and then another buddy of mine would record the pay-per-views because he would buy them. His mom, they had the money for it, so they could buy the WCW pay-per-view, the WWF pay-per-view, and anything else in the ECW pay-per-views and anything in between. So we would all record our tapes, and then we would trade. which is like obviously tape trading, like everybody would do.
Right.
So we would trade tapes, and then we would have other kids come in with like, I mean, black trash bags just full of tapes, and we would bring them, and we would fucking be in a playground, and we would be trading tapes. And some of them would be fancy. They would have like a sticker on them of like maybe Bret Hart or somebody like that to kind of tell you, okay, this is from this pay-per-view or from that. But it was all like the tracking would be off. So when you would watch it, you have to fuck with the tracking on your VCR constantly because the shit would just. So yeah, we did a lot of that too, bro. We traded a lot of tapes.
That's fun, dude. I still have my old VHS tapes.
Really? Oh
yeah.
shit!
I love them too much to get rid of them.
Oh man,
I
wish I had them, bro.
Even though like WrestleMania 7, you got to turn the sound all the way up just to be able to barely hear it.
Because the audio syncings would be so bad on some of those tapes. Yeah, I would have to have my TV. I would put my TV on max volume, right? Watch the tape, and then when it was done, I would forget to put the volume back down. So then when somebody would come in and put on the TV, you know, like, what the fuck, man? Oh my God, good times when I think about it now. Good times.
So you were more of a WWF at the time, WWF guy then.
So I got into WWF back when I was about 5 or 6 years old. Before my grandfather passed away, may God miss his soul. My grandfather was the one that would watch professional wrestling really often, and my grandfather grew up on like, you know, world class championship wrestling. He grew up on NWA, so he watched all that, and then he watched wrestling in Puerto Rico as well. Oh wow! And then he got into WWF at the time when I was introduced to it. My grandfather introduced it to me. Because one day, he would be on this rocking chair, and like my grandmother would get the pay-per-views, and he'd be in the rocking chair, and he'd get excited, and he'd be, you know, because so in my family we have a habit of when we get upset or when we're excited, we bite our tongues. So we're all like, right? So my grandfather's just there, you know, because they're wrestling. And he's getting excited, and he's like, "Yeah, get him, yeah, get him," you know. So for my grandfather, Hulk Hogan was the shit to him. So as a kid, I was into superheroes and things like that, and I had never really seen wrestling by that point. From what I can remember, I was into Superman and Spider-Man especially. So I was already into comic books. I was already into this stuff. But to me, it was just cartoons and comics and toys. Nothing real ever that I would see anything like that until I saw a match with the first wrestler that I ever saw was Big Boss Man. And then I was like, holy shit, this guy is a cop. But like, he's in a ring and he's big, and he was wrestling, I think he might have been wrestling Kamala or something like that. I just remember it was so wild to me. It was like, these guys look like the comic book characters that I'm looking at, you know? And I saw that, and he told me to sit down, and I was like, wow, I like that Big Boss Man guy. Like, he's cool. Like, you know, he's the cop, and he's got the baton, and he's whacking people with it, and it was really cool. And then the second experience, which to me was my most profound experience with wrestling, was when my grandmother ordered Tuesday in Texas for my grandfather. Yeah. And so I sat down with him. Yeah, so I sat down with him from bottom to the end, from bottom to top, top to bottom, and we watched the entire pay-per-view. And when I saw Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker, that was it for me. I was like I saw these other guys, and I was like, oh, this. I was engaged. I was happy. Then when I finally saw, I kept hearing about him. You know, it was like, and I kept thinking, who's this Hulk Hogan guy? Who's this Hulk Hogan guy? You know, who is this guy? And then when he came out, that was it. I was a Hulkster because I saw the red, the yellow, and this guy with muscles coming out of his fucking head. And he was walking down the ring, and I believe he had the American flag waving at the time, maybe something to that effect, if I'm trying to remember correctly. And I just saw that, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is amazing.
You got
this is a guy. He looks like the comic book characters that I'm into, but he's real. And I had no idea at the time that they were real. So then Undertaker comes. And that's when I was like, oh my God. I was like, this guy's dead. He's dead. He's a dead, for real dead guy. And he's coming into the ring and he has no like emotions and he's like just a dead guy, dead man, right? So like he comes in and they wrestle. And it's like this really just intense match. And like then I just remember in my little mind, you know, because Ric Flair interferes in the match with the chair and he gives it to Undertaker and then they whack Hogan with it. And that's when Undertaker wins his first title. But for me, being a child, not knowing any of these guys really, all I remember is seeing an old guy run into the ring with the chair and then he gives it to Undertaker and he whacks Hogan over the head. And now think about it. That's my first experience with Hogan. He lost, and he lost the fucking title at that. And this big dead guy beat him. So that was my first real experience.
His audience were all crying and everything.
Yeah, I was like confused. I was like, I thought the good guys always won. What's going on here? And it messed me up a bit. And then obviously I kept watching, and then Hogan obviously was able to make the comeback, and then he won the title, and then I understood more. Where it's like, okay, sometimes the bad guys win, but the good guys always come in and they, you know, they come on top. So I was a fan of WWF up into the NWO. When the NWO started, it was because my friends in school at the time were always talking about them, and they would have the shirts. And I didn't know what the fuck that was. And I was like, whoa, what's this? Where's that? Now, mind you, Hogan was gone, and I was looking for him. I was like, what happened to Hogan? Where's Hogan? Where do I go? What happened? Did he die? I always thought for a few years he died. So I was like, oh, he died, I guess, you know. And then when my friends in grade school would talk about NWO, one day I heard one of them say, you know, yeah, and Hogan is cool again. And I said, Hogan? Who's Hogan? Oh, Hulk Hogan. I was like, Hulk Hogan? What do you mean Hulk Hogan? He's dead. No, he's not dead. He's in the NWO. He's the leader. I was like, I need to see proof. Like, what are you talking about? So he showed me a magazine. I think it was it wasn't PWI. It was something else. I don't remember the name. And I saw Hogan, but he wasn't red and yellow anymore. He was all black, NWO. The fucking beard was fucking black and blonde. He had the bandana that was black, and he looked completely different. And I was like, holy shit, you know, what is this? And so my friend told me, tell your grandmother to turn on TNT and watch Monday Nitro. And I watched it. I saw Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, and I saw all these characters that were way cooler than fucking WWF at the time, where everybody had a job. It looked like everybody was, you know, it was wild, man. Wild.
You got a question here from Joseph Garcia. I don't know if it's popping up. It says,
go ahead. What do you think of the latest TMNT Last Ronin series? Oh, okay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles he's talking about. Man, I'll be quite honest with you. I don't have too much of a knowledge of Ninja Turtles at this current juncture. My understanding, I could be wrong, is that Rowan is Raphael? Is that right? Is he like Raphael is Rowan? I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I'm not the biggest teenage.
Yeah, me neither. I've seen the movie.
Big old hulk of crap.
That's Garcia.
Nah, not when he was in NWO, man. He was in NWO. He was the shit.
I remember watching. I was watching live the night when he turned on WCW. In fact, I think Bubba Boudreaux was in the audience that night.
Yeah. Oh shit, man. That's awesome. Shout out to Bubba Boudreaux.
Bobby Heenan almost ruined it. The announcers are all cheering. It's the Hulkster. It's the Hulkster. And Bobby Heenan says, "Yeah, but whose side is he on?"
That's right. I saw like the documentary, I believe, when I saw that. And he almost gave off the ending. It's funny, you know, I missed that. Like I missed that part. I got up to when I started watching Nitro. They must have been doing NWO for about maybe almost half a year by that point. So I missed the heel turn. I missed all of that. But happy enough or good enough, I had friends that had like access to those pay-per-views. So I got Bash at the Beach on VHS and I watched it. And I had, for me, it was new because he had turned into a bad guy. And I was like, holy shit, like he really is a bad guy. And that was it. I was a Nitro fan from that point until probably, I want to say, the beginning of 1999 when I started jumping more to WWF. But then I got to see Sting. And now these are the first times that I'm really watching these guys. So like Sting was the shit. He was the shit.
I met him when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
He was actually supposed to be the third member. Hogan didn't want to do it at first, and Scott Hall wanted Sting, and they came pretty close for Sting being the third member, but they wanted it to be an ex-WWF guy.
Right. I read that. Where did I see it? I think I saw that in an interview or something like that Sting did, where he said they wanted me to be the guy, the third member, and Hogan didn't want to do it. And I guess they finally convinced him, because I think what it was Hogan was getting stale as the red and yellow character, and he was getting booed.
Right. He was, and he still wanted to kind of stick to that character, but everybody else was pretty much like, it's not working. The anti-hero is coming up, and you're gonna have to change with the times if you want to continue being successful. So I guess like almost like a last ditch kind of effort thing. I think it was Kevin Sullivan that got him to kind of see it from that end, and then he was like, all right, I'll go with it, and we'll do it. We'll do the heel thing. It's funny too, because I don't know if you remember before NWO, when Hogan was having the rivalry with the Dungeon of Doom. You remember those? That whole hokey stable. Yeah.
He was kind of flirting with going to what Hogan was calling the dark side.
Right. He was wearing black.
He was wearing all black. Exactly. I think that was kind of this is a big word. I think that was the impetus for him to go heel, when he kind of figured out, hey, let me continue what I was doing there. And they added the rest for him on that point. So I think that he was kind of flirting with the heel shit. I just think that, yeah, and I think they couldn't convince him. And then he got it. I think he got it. And then when they saw the reaction and the way that it kind of went, I'm pretty sure after a while, when they were making money, I'm pretty sure Hogan was cool with it after that. They made a lot of money. So.
A lot of money.
Hell yeah, man.
God damn it, Garcia. You know what Sting I'm talking about.
Oh, he's asking what Sting?
You don't listen to no Sting. He's talking about the singer.
Stinger, I didn't know that he was the Surfer Stinger until like years after I discovered him as Crow Sting. Maybe about a good 3 years later, I found out he had this whole persona before that, where he was a surfer with blonde hair and shit.
Had this
pretty
real
cool,
intense music too. Really pump you up, man.
The Man Called Sting. That was what I remembered from that.
Yeah, that was the second theme.
It's my dog. Go ahead, buddy. But yeah, man, he was cool. Sting was cool, man. Especially when he when he did the Wolf Pack. When he was in the Wolf Pack and he painted his face red. Oh, that was cool as shit too, man. He looked so cool, man.
It was. The only thing that was kind of sad about that was that that's when he was on some pretty hard stuff. He got into pain pills and stuff.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell it in some of the matches, but
yeah, when I watch later, like now, and I watch some of that stuff back, he had some matches probably. Well, around the Wolfpack time, he had a couple of matches where it looked like he was a little step off. He had a match with Bret Hart of all people.
I
And
thought
it was
that
for the
a good
US.
match. At Halloween Havoc?
Yeah, and he had it for it was for the US belt. And he was still doing the Wolfpack thing.
Right.
And I like that match. I actually really like that match. I guess for me, I always felt like it should have been more. I guess in the sense of you have these two all-time greats, and I think for what it was for me was kind of the gimmicky finish. I always felt like it should have been a one-on-one kind of pure contest in a sense. You know what I mean? It's like we want to find out who is better and who has the better finisher, because they both got the same finisher pretty much. So I think that was kind of always the thing that kind of got me, because I don't think they ever really worked like that again in that matter. You know what I mean?
They didn't. Everything that's when WCW started getting really.
And when you think about it, like think about it like this too. That's one of in that Monday Night War era, that was probably the closest you were ever going to get to an actual legitimate wrestler from the WWF and then WCW Sting, and a guy who was known for WWF or his whole career, and they wrestled. And I think for me, that's why I always see, when I watch the match every now and then, I always think about that. And I'm like, yo, that when I think about it, that's like, it's WWF and WCW. Even though Brett's been there for a while, it's still kind of cool to see. You know what I mean? Like how that would have stacked up. So,
did you catch Sting and Triple H at WrestleMania?
Of course I did. I ordered that Mania. I thought the finish was, I thought the finish was bullshit, in my opinion. I think Sting should have won that because he's the newcomer. He's the legend coming in, and you want to build them strong. From a booker standpoint, they fucked up.
I think that Vince has always, with the exception of Goldberg, I think Vince has always had it in, so maybe even subconsciously, to kind of screw over all the WCW guys in some way or another.
Yeah, I think because I don't know if you listen to some of the wrestling podcasts. Like, you ever listen to like Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard? You ever listen to like Grilling with JR and those? So I listened to two podcasts in particular that can definitely answer that question. It sums it up. And one is from Bruce Pritchard's podcast, where they did the podcast about the final WCW Nitro. You know, Conrad Thompson is always hosting those things. So Conrad asked him a question. He goes, you know, he's basically asking Bruce to be honest. He's like, Bruce, be honest. Did the WWF have something against the WCW wrestlers coming in? And more specifically, did Vince McMahon on his own have this sort of mentality where I'll bring him in, I'll make the talent think I'm gonna put him over, but I'm not really gonna put him over. Like, I'm gonna, you know, we're gonna bring him in, we're gonna have him work angles, but we're gonna squash him. And
Buff Bagwell, the first night, they destroyed him.
So Bruce, it took a little while, but finally Bruce admitted. He said, and then JR did one too, and JR basically said the same thing, but I'll kind of quote both of them as best as I can, because they both have different answers to it. Bruce was more of the opinion that he said, yes, there definitely was a stigma with those guys coming in. He said, we legitimately thought that we could build a brand around the talent that we brought in, but we should have known that the talent that we had was not the top caliber athletes that WCW had, and these guys were more on the inexperienced side, because these were Chuck Palumbo,
right?
It was Sean Stasiak. It was all of these guys that, who the fuck knows those guys? So, you know, it was always kind of this mentality where it's like, oh, we're gonna try to put him over, but we're not really gonna put him over. And like Bruce Pritchard admitted, he said, yeah, the guys in the back who were in the WWF at the time did not like it. They didn't give a shit. They didn't want to put him over, and they said, fuck it. Jim Ross I feel had the better answer, in my opinion, and I feel like that's more true to it, where he said Vince wanted to kind of test these guys in a way, where he wanted to kind of put them in a pressure cooker to see if they could adapt to the WWF locker room climate. They could adapt to the way WWE structures their business with the superstars. And he said some of them did, like Booker T, Diamond Dallas Page. Some of those guys did adapt to the structure. Then he said guys like Buff Bagwell, Sean Stasiak, and a couple others just weren't able to adapt to the culture. And they, like Buff, got into that fight with Shane Helms, where he had, I guess Shane hit him in the back of the head, and it busted his head open, and then he got fired. And then a little after that, they had the bad match in Atlanta, I think, or was it Tacoma? Booker T and Buff Bagwell had the infamous match where everybody booed and they were pissed. The audience was legitimately pissed off.
It was where Arn Anderson came down and did commentary.
Yeah, and they tried to do the Nitro, right?
Yeah.
And they tried to do it on Raw. And there was a match. I think it might have been in Atlanta, actually, when I think about it.
I think so.
You would think, hey, Atlanta is where WCW was based, right? Atlanta and Ted Turner and all that shit. You would think that they were going to get like the biggest pops of the night and everybody was going to be fucking loving it because it's WCW on WWF TV. But it was actually the opposite. Everybody shitted on it. Yep. Everybody shitted on it. They didn't like it. I think that's how it went. I could be wrong, and it could have been in Tacoma. And then it was something about that the next Raw, they were in Atlanta, and why not do it in Atlanta? I might be wrong on that, but I do know for a fact you can go on the network and look up Booker T versus Buff Bagwell, WWF Raw. And, bro, oh my God. To this day, I don't think I ever heard a louder set of boos, but like that, the boos where it's not because Buff's a heel, but because people legitimately don't want to see these two guys. And they're telling them, go home. You can hear the audience. Go home. Get the fuck out of here. No way. They didn't want it. They did not want it. And that killed the WCW thing. So
I'll be honest, I started booing as soon as I saw the new logo they created for WCW.
Yeah, you know.
What is this? Because you're talking about the night that it went down, the night that they had the simulcast when Vince opened up the show, the future WCW's in the palm.
That was the purchase. That was when WCW was officially purchased by WWF.
I was 16 years old and I was running almost 103 fever, almost hallucinating, and I was watching this. 16 years old and tears just streaming down my face, knowing that WCW was done. It was surreal, man. It was surreal. And I'm going to tell you why it was surreal for me. I had to see it to believe it. But I had also picked up, I used to have the magazine for this because I had walked through newsstands. I walked past a newsstand that day and I saw, I think it's called Wow. I think it's called Wild. I know what you're talking about.
Wild World of Wrestling or something like that. And anyway, on the front of the magazine cover, it had Vince McMahon, but like a cartoon drawing of him with he's holding a tombstone, and it says, RIP WCW, whatever the year was to 2001, and it said WWF wins the war. And I was like, wait, what? And I remember I bought the book for like $6, and I bought it. And I couldn't believe it. I said, this has got to be a gimmick. It's got to be a work as we all know it, right? And I'm looking through it, and I see it. And it says that, Vince McMahon and the WWF have purchased WCW, and that this was not, it was not a storyline. This was legit, and that WCW was dead. And I couldn't believe it. I read the magazine. I read that whole, and it was a big one.
Yeah, the Wild magazines were thick. I remember.
Yeah. So it was big. And I read the whole thing and I just could not believe it. And I remember that magazine, it took you through kind of like a brief history of WCW, what made it great. And then it kind of what the editors' opinions were of what WCW did wrong and why it died. I didn't care about that. What I cared was this real? Did the WWF own WCW? And if they did own that company, what was going to happen to my favorite wrestlers on that program?
That's
in my head, where's NWO gonna go? Where's Goldberg gonna go? Where's Sting gonna go? Where are all of these guys? Luger, DDP, Bagwell, all these guys that I enjoyed watching. And then what you're talking about, the simulcast, Shane was on Nitro, and I couldn't believe it. I knew as soon as I saw Shane, I knew it was real, and I knew the magazine wasn't bullshitting, and I couldn't believe it. And I remember just being in this state of shock. It was surreal. What really did it for me, though, and when Shane popped up, that was towards the end, by the way. But from the beginning, when Vince showed up on Raw, I was like, okay. And then he said that he bought it. So, I'm like, okay, I get it. But man, when that moment that Shane popped up on that's when I knew it's done. And then I saw the final Nitro, Sting and Flair had that nice match.
And the embrace afterwards.
Yeah. Tony Schiavone's crying. I don't know if you remember that. He's crying.
Oh, yeah. I was crying right along with.
Yeah. I'm crying. My brother's crying. We're like, oh man, like this show that we watched for the past 3 years or whatever it was, it's done. And it was like, okay, let's see what WWF is going to do with it. And we all know what they did with it. They fucked it up.
Let me ask you this, though. We was talking about Buff Bagwell and Booker T, how bad the booze and everything was. What about the pop? What about the pop whenever Paul Heyman jumps in the ring and says, "This invasion just got taken to the extreme"? Points up. See the ECW guys walking through the rafters.
What's funny is like I did watch ECW a little bit. I started catching ECW back really when it started taking off. So I started watching a little bit of ECW in '97, and then because I couldn't get any more tapes, I couldn't get access really to it anymore, because ECW at the time was I believe it was on a channel that only certain stations picked up. So at the time, it wasn't on cable like Nitro or Raw. It was like on a local broadcast channel. So like they had, I believe, syndication in Philly. So if you were in Philly or around that encroaching area, you could watch ECW. Where I was at the time in Jersey in '97, I was in Jersey in 1997. We couldn't get ECW. So I only had to go from the small amount of tapes that I got. So I knew some of the stars. Like I knew Taz. Taz was my favorite. Taz, Sabu, Dreamer, BWO, which I was like always offended by, because as a kid, I'm like, you guys are ripping off NWO. How dare you? And and then as I got older, I understood the comedy in it. So when Paul Heyman showed up on that Raw with the ECW guys and said that this has been taken to the extreme. By that point, I hadn't been watching much ECW, only a little bit of stuff. So I would rent the VHS tapes from '98 when they started getting a lot of pay-per-views, and it was like Barely Legal was one that I remember. There's another one.
Anarchy Rules.
I had the game too, by the way. So I had Anarchy Rules.
November
to Dismember, right? Is it November to Dismember?
November.
Okay, November to Remember. And Heat Wave, which was basically their version of SummerSlam.
Right.
WrestlePalooza, and what's like their one, what was their first pay-per-view? What was the name of that one? Was that Barely Legal?
Barely Legal.
Okay, so that was the one. That's my favorite pay-per-view they ever did, by the way. So anyway, I had
Going.
kind of been watching ECW by that point, and so then I stopped because I couldn't get any more content, and I didn't know what happened to them. When I saw the WoW magazine, when I read it, it said that ECW had folded and that the WWF owned them. So I was like, whoa, like, damn, Vince owns ECW too. It didn't make as much as an impact because I wasn't watching it as much, but I was very surprised.
It wasn't known about.
Yeah. So when I saw Heyman and those guys, the ECW guys, come on, I was surprised because I was like, oh shit, ECW is still around, you know, and I had no idea that, you know, they were going to kind of go with the angle they did, which was the alliance thing. But I kind of thought that we were going to have a big war. That's what I thought as a teen. I was expecting a huge war between ECW, WCW, and the WWF, the battle for dominance. And I figured we would see Goldberg. Yeah. And I was figuring, as a kid, I remember some of the best things about being a fan of pro wrestling. Obviously, it's the content that we're watching and the superstars and all that stuff. But the other aspect of it is, and I'm sure you could agree with this, is being a matchmaker, right? You're booking matches. Oh, I would like to see Sting go against Stone Cold. I would like to see Rock versus Kevin Nash. And that's how I was. I was like, holy shit, we're going to get Goldberg and Austin. We're going to get Rock and DDP. We're going to get all of these fucking wrestlers. Or it's Taz. You know, at the time, I didn't really, you know, I was thinking, oh my God, Taz is going to fucking go against Scott Hall. Like, I was making all of these random things. And I was like, holy shit, this is going to be incredible. And I remember as a teen, like fantasy booking with my friends and saying, yo, watch Survivor Series. They're going to have a huge fucking gauntlet and it's going to be ECW, WCW. And we're going to have, and then WrestleMania is going to be this. And I remember just making all of these plans or what are these predictions. And then they ended up fucking everything up. And none of it happened.
Pretty bad.
It sucked. It sucked. Don't turn into a bad guy. And I was like, what?
Rewind a little bit. Were you watching 1999 Over the Edge?
Was that is that the Owen Hart incident?
Right.
Okay, yeah. I saw that pay-per-view. I remember it.
That for me, I don't know about you, but that for me was the moment whenever, you know, I knew that wrestling was, I don't ever call it fake. I call it, you know, if I have to call it something, choreographed.
Yeah. Scripted and entertainment.
That was the moment when I realized that, wow, this is real. When they had the cameras panned out to the audience, the whole, and that, I mean, that was just awful all around. But
you know, I'm trying to remember. Over the Edge 99, I must have been about 12 or 13. So I remember when that happened to Owen Hart, because Owen Hart was playing the Blue Blazer at the time.
Correct.
And I remember that. And I remember watching some of the Raws surrounding that, where he was like, you know, doing the people were trying to figure out whether Owen Hart was the Blue Blazer or not, right? Like that was kind of the gimmick where Owen was trying to prove he wasn't the Blue Blazer, but JR was like, that's Owen, and King was like, that's not Owen, you know? So I remember when that whole thing happened, I will be honest with you, I thought it was an angle, you know, at first glance. I thought it was an angle, and I remember thinking, damn, this is good. Reason being why I say that is because I watched the King of the Ring 98 pay-per-view where Taker threw Mankind off of that cell. Oh. And in my head, I was thinking, well, if Mankind can fall from that cell, surely Owen Hart can survive a fall. That was my thought process at the time. So I was thinking, well, we had this angle with Undertaker and Mankind in this match, the most famous match of all time. I was thinking, it's got to be something like that at the time. It didn't fully kick in until the Raw is Owen show the next night, where Vince had spoke a bit and said that Owen Hart has died, and then I said, "Holy shit! Like he's really dead. And this is not good."
During the pay-per-view, when JR announced it, you still announced that he died. You still thought it was part of the angle.
I still thought it was part of the angle. Yes, 100%. I thought there was a work. I thought at the time there was an angle here, and I should be watching Raw the next night, which I did. And boy, was I wrong, because unfortunately Owen Hart passed away, and it sunk in. And my mom cried. I cried. My brother was very confused. And I remember 2 weeks later, they came out with a magazine where they commemorated Owen Hart, and it was called Heart of Gold, Owen Hart's story. And it was a magazine dedicated to Owen Hart, and I had it for a long time. And then I passed it down. I gave it to my mom, and then my mom gave it to my brother. But then over the years, it just got lost. But I remember the magazine, and I held that very dear to my heart. I held that. I protected it. There was a poster in there that I took out, and I had on my wall, and it was like Owen Hart, from the born date to the death date. It was the poster of him, doing the victory pose. And that was that Raw. I'll never forget that Raw. It was so weird. Everybody was crying.
It was.
They were doing, the interviews about the life of Owen, and it was so weird because I was like, "Holy shit!" Like,
I had the armbands and
yeah, I was like, "Oh man, he's gone. He's gone." And like, damn, that sucks, because I liked Owen Hart when I was watching WWF before I started watching WCW a few years. Owen Hart was the Rocket.
Right.
And he was the King of Hearts. He was cool, man. I liked his character. So he was the Rocket. He was the King of Hearts, Owen Hart. So like he was Bret's brother, and I always liked their rivalry. I used to watch them both. I saw the WrestleMania match where Owen beat him. I saw the cage match that they had. It was really
great WrestleMania match
too. That was amazing. And I remember the promo that Owen did in the cage where it was all dark with Jim the Nine for Neidhart. I remember that promo. Yeah, man, I remember Owen, man. Owen was truly a great wrestler. He really was.
If you're wondering what I'm doing, you'll see in just a second.
I'm thinking you're gonna find something Owen Hart memorabilia. Is that it?
The Rocket.
Oh shit! Wow, look at that. That's the old Hasbro toy, right? Is that from Hasbro?
I want to say it's Mattel.
Okay, Mattel.
Well, I played with them so much, I done rubbed off the.
That's an authentic toy from back in that time, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah, man. I used to collect those. So
I got a whole box right here.
Yeah, I had so many. I had Hulk Hogan with the arms. There was some of them where they would have the arms kind of open like this, where the arms, I don't know if you remember, the arms would go like up and down like this, and you could turn their torsos, but the legs couldn't move. You couldn't bend them. But they were like really muscle bound. Some of them, I don't know, maybe you have this one. Some of them, if you take your thumb, there's like a little latch on the back of them. If you take your thumb and press down, there's a spring, and then you can launch them in the air.
Right.
Remember these? So I had a bunch of those too. I had Tito Santana, Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels. I had a couple of those. So those were
Coco Bewares did that with the spring.
Yeah. They had a couple of them. Look at that. Yeah, with the thumb. You could put the thumb in the back. Look at that, man.
I was trying to find a Hogan. I got two Hogans. I got the one where you can put his hands in the air. And I got the other one where he gives the bear hug.
Oh shit. Okay, I gotta see this. Hold on.
I wish there was a way I could just dump them all out and display them.
Bro, me and my brother used to have so many of those damn toys, man. Oh man.
Did you used to write your own pay-per-views and stuff like I did?
we used to do our pay-per-views. We used to have dream matches because we had WCW toys and WWF toys. So we would like do these fantasy pay-per-views and make up our own names for them. Like we would do. I remember there was one called because I liked Super Brawl, so we did like Super Bash, and and then we had
I did the same.
And then the best pay-per-view, the ultimate one that me and my brother would do. We called it it was so weird. We called it Wrestlers Unlimited. And that was like the big pay-per-view. It was like Wrestlers Unlimited. Welcome, like it was unlimited wrestling. It was the biggest show of all time. And we had so many toys. We would like match up all of the dream matches we wanted. And man, we did that for hours, man. Holy shit. Hours. That was before social medias. That was before all the online shit. Yep, I heard the clicking on it too. Oh man,
Sid,
dude,
I
can't believe you have these, man. This is amazing.
I got some ECW guys too. Little Sabu there.
Amazing, freaking amazing, dude.
You pretty much name it. I got them.
Freaking amazing, bro. Hold on, I'm trying to. Give me a second. I wanna.
I'm gonna show you a couple more, and then we're gonna get kind of want to get into your promo career, man.
Let's go for it, man. Now,
his arm used to work. Jake the Snake. I played with him so much. This is the one where you pull the arm back.
Oh man.
The straight punch.
Shit, dude. Oh man.
I'm looking for my favorite. Yeah, my favorite right there, Ravishing Rick.
Rick Rude. He was another one that I really liked a lot too.
One of my favorite heels.
Oh man.
So pretty much, I take it Triple H was your main influence when it come to being who you kind of modeled yourself after in a way.
I would. I want to say in the beginning, I kind of channeled Taz a little bit in the beginning.
You said you like Taz, and I see a lot of Taz in you.
So, I mean, I even had like sometimes I would even do the towel over my head like Taz would. But then over time, my character kind of changed because in the beginning I was just like this gangster from the Bronx who beat people up and like, was a trash talker and a street guy. So like that whole thing, I did that for a little while. And then when I changed my character because I turned legitimately heel. And that was kind of really what started the change in IW that got us to where we are now. In the beginning of IW, man, we didn't take things seriously in terms of, we're gonna be the top of the heap in E-Feds. We weren't thinking like that. We were just thinking like, yo, we're wrestling fans. We like wrestling. We want to fucking have fun, and we want to cut promos, and we want to do some fun shit. And that's it. It was just cool. It was like, that's it. We don't give a fuck about anybody else and what they're doing. When my character changed and we did the whole administration angle, that's when I started to channel more Triple H. I wanted to change my character to reflect the faction that I was a part of, where I felt that although I could continue going with that gangster, tough-talking, Bronx ass-kicking character, I didn't feel that it would fit the mold for what David was trying to go for, which was really, in essence, him being Vince McMahon and me being The Rock, being that corporate kind of champ. I like The Rock, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do none of his shit, nor did I want to. So I channeled more Triple H, and I changed my character to kind of fit that mold and became more of a money guy, big money pit. That's where that kind of came from. And that's when I started to really channel Triple H to this day, where I kind of keep it that way. So
I put that banner up. I wanted to get some of your opinion on what your favorite early IW matches were. Whoa.
Well, I can tell you this. I don't have the best memory when it comes to matches. But I will tell you, the storylines will then tell you the matches. So there was a storyline with James Park, who at the time was the Iron Crusader, and he was going against an IW competitor, or E-Feder, an IW.
And he wore the helmet.
Yep. So he wore a medieval suit of armor, complete with the sword, and I believe he had a shield. And he was the Iron Crusader. And he was in storyline my lackey, or subordinate, or we would always kind of play with that. So, and obviously it's James Park, who's like the heart and soul of IW. Nobody will ever question that. James had a angle going on with KTG, who's another Hall of Famer in IW, who I certainly would love to see back in IW for sure, because I love KTG, Kenny the Great. They had a rivalry going on. So basically in the rivalry, they had great matches. My favorite thing about that was when James Park hung, this is storyline, of course, where James hung a bunch of African Americans in front of Kenny's house and lit them on fire. Now, to give more context, KTG is African American. He's black. And so in storyline, James, a person from Ireland, took and murdered African Americans, hung them on nooses, and hung them in front of Kenny the Great's home and lit them on fire.
Holy.
And they all had KKK apparel on. So that goes to also show you how crazy IW was at that time, where we did not have any filters, any restrictions. Nobody complained. And, we were able to do whatever we wanted. My second favorite angle has to definitely be, I don't want to sound cocky, but it's just my experiences. I had a great rivalry with Aaron Acid. That was amazing.
He's a great guy. Great guy.
Yes, he is. Aaron Stroud. Big shout outs to Aaron Stroud. Really top of the line guy.
Before I was in a faction with him.
Yeah. Okay. So you already know how he is, man. He's a straight shooter, man. Straight shooter. Yeah. Aaron. I'll tell a quick story about Aaron just so people understand how cool he is. I was going through some health issues 2 years back, and Aaron reached out to me, man, and he didn't have to. There was nothing for him to gain. Aaron reached out to me, and I remember, man, I was in a hotel room. I was getting ready to go to a hospital. Well, not a hospital, but I was getting ready to go get checked out, and I was staying at a hotel room. And Aaron called me. And I remember, man, me and him just had like this conversation. It was a really great conversation, and I don't forget things like that. But anyway, Aaron and me had a great rivalry. So in IW, he's known as Aaron Acid. Now, kind of to give you more context to that, my character in the beginning was a very just cunning, backstabbing, and murderous, and a sexual, basically my character raped. So
we could have been tag partners.
Yeah. So my character, basically the Pitbull character murdered a Make-A-Wish Foundation kid named Darton. Now Darton, and I killed Darton, and then I killed the main organizer and raped her before I killed her. She was a woman. And I killed her. I kidnapped her, killed her. I kidnapped Darton, killed Darton with the help of James, Iron Crusader. Now, to show you how, and it's still top line, but this to show you like how great the writing was. They were able to take this bonkers, unbelievable, totally, obviously fictitious story, and they were able to take something so just over the top and take this element of it to make this something even better and to continue it, but evolve it. So what I mean by that is they took Darton and they made Aaron Acid Darton's brother. So it gave a huge reason, if not the biggest, right, for Aaron Acid to have an issue with the Pitbull. I killed his brother. So that storyline came later. And I had no idea that this is what they were cooking up, because Aaron had been around for a bit. But Aaron was so good that they were like, we got to get Aaron with Pitbull. How do we do that? So the guys who were writing, which was Heath, which was Kenny, David, and if I'm forgetting anybody else, I'm so sorry. And those are just the guys that I had the most communication with.
Probably McClain,
And
I would think.
yeah, and Josh, rest in peace. Matter of fact, really quickly, rest in peace to Joshua Hagan, who was a huge integral part of early IW. Rest in peace to Josh, man, because Josh was involved in a lot of that stuff. He gave a lot of ideas to me. He would message me, tell me how much he loved the character, and little things that I could do. So Josh Hagan was just amazing. So
this was
anyway
that did the parody.
Yeah, this was the guy that did the parody. This was also David's right-hand man. This was David's real-life best friend. And unfortunately, Joshua passed away. But Joshua always loved IW. He always would be involved. And when he would be involved, there was always something special. He was involved in the Iron Crusader Christmas angle, which was something that was really cool. And he was involved in a couple of other angles. He cut some promos on me, which was fun. But anyway, going back, the guys that were writing for that thing were so good with how they, how they fit that into the mold with me and Aaron wanting revenge because I killed Darton, and me always fucking Aaron over and screwing him, never getting to the championship because I was the title holder and the administration was protecting me. And it was so good. The promos we would cut on each other, man, were just really fucking good. Aaron is very underrated in the way that he could come up with shit. He could come up with shit on the fly like I can. So back then, it was like, okay, I'm going to come up with a promo and I would bury Aaron, but Aaron would come back and he would bury me. So we had this back and forth. And I mean, bro, there was a day where me and Aaron were just cutting promos on each other minute by minute. Bro, this is when IW was just like, we didn't give a fuck about how long it took to cut a promo. Bro, literally 60 seconds later, Aaron would come in. 60 seconds later, I would come in. 2 minutes later, Aaron would cut a promo. 2 minutes later, I'm cutting a promo. Bro, by the end of that fucking day, all you see are Pitbull and Acid promos, top to bottom. Everybody else got buried under them because we were cutting so many promos and nobody was telling us, hey, you can't do that. Everybody was hungry for content. So that was the angle. That was the angle that really took the IW to where people started watching. This is why I mention it. Where people outside of other feds started looking at IW and saying, yo, like, what are these motherfuckers doing? Like, this shit is fucking hot. We want to be a part of it. And that's when people wanted to start getting more involved in IW. More people started leaving feds.
I want you to check out this next banner I'm about to put up because
okay, go ahead.
You and I have we talked. We have a lot in common here, and there's one thing that we do have in common that a lot of people can't say.
Wrestling the Boss. Oh man, I wish David was here right now because I would love him to just tell the story of when me and him matched up. Because that was just so fucking entertaining. And, I say it all the time. I've talked to you about this on our personal conversations. David is one of the best promos out. And he's very underrated. And David, although David will always take credit for what he's done, David is always very bashful when it comes to me putting him over as a promo guy. David is always more like, oh, yeah, I'm okay. David is very, very underrated as a promo. And David can...
He knows how good he is.
Yeah. David can promo with the best of them. David knows this.
Once that hood comes...
And I've seen David bury some motherfuckers. Let's just say that.
Right here.
But Yeah. But the beginning of all of that was when me and him were doing it. We had an angle, and it was the obvious kind of. There was nowhere to go other than me and David had to face off. Eventually, I had to turn babyface. I had to lose the title. Somebody else had to take the reins because we had to put over other talent. And you know, we were able to do that. But to get there, me and David had to have that fucking rivalry. I had to turn against the boss. And so we had an amazing rivalry. David definitely outdid me in those promos. I wish I could say that on those promos I was at my best. I definitely wasn't. So that's like the only regret I have on that angle is that I didn't have 100% heart in it. Only because I was going through some personal stuff and it had nothing to do with IW, and it affected my work. And so I always felt that kind of hurt the angle. But we did get some classic moments. So David dressing up as me and putting on the Puerto Rico theme song and cutting a promo being Pitbull and making fun of me and doing that whole thing was probably it is the highlight of that whole angle. Him just doing that. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Because he got me really like to a T. He had the bandanas. He had the fucking Latin music playing in the background, the fucking the reggaeton in the background. He was wearing like the bandanas. He was making fun of me, you know, Puerto Rico, and he was doing my mannerisms, and it was hilarious. It was one of the best things I ever seen in IW.
He got me on his Twitch stream. He one of his promos was it looked like his actual Twitch stream, and he created a DarKen GraVes character, and he was calling the action as he was doing it and promoting at the same time.
Oh my God!
Yeah, he buried me.
That's fucking David for you. That's David for you.
But one thing he did do, and I'll always be touched this day. I shared with him a clip of my late father. My late father was a Southern Baptist preacher.
Okay.
There was this clip, and it said something along the lines of, I know when I die, I'm going to heaven, but friends, I don't want to die right now. I don't want to die right now. So in his intro, he's got the crosses and everything, and he's playing that as a tribute to my dad in the background. Nobody knew who it was. Justin Klein was thinking, is this some guy off of a Western or something? And that was the highlight for me for that match.
I'm telling you, man. David. David gets a lot of shit, right, for being who he is in terms of being the boss, right, having to make the tough decisions, and sometimes as the boss, right, you're gonna make decisions, especially for IW. You're gonna make decisions that are gonna take some people the wrong way. It's gonna rub people the wrong way, and I wish that people could know, the real David Jones, not the character that he portrays in iWrestling, but the actual man behind all of that shit. Because in truth, although David and I have definitely well documented have our issues, that was all business. All of that was really just our love for IW, right? And what we wanted for IW, and me having a difference of opinion than he did, and where should Pitbull go, and what should this do, and what should that do. And that's going to happen, right? When you're passionate about something, you are going to also be very vocal when you feel that it doesn't fit what you want to do, when it comes to business. Beyond that, and kind of, I guess, lifting that curtain so you can see the real Oz, right? David is actually one of the coolest motherfuckers ever. And David is one of those people that you can shoot the shit with, but you could also talk about your personal problems with. You know what I mean? Right. And I think that's what made David stand above the rest of the, quote unquote bosses and the other E-feds, was that with David, he gave a shit. If you talk to him and shoot the shit, he will talk to you. He will give you the time of day. You just have to talk to him. And a lot of people a lot of people got David wrong because they wouldn't talk to him. They would go by hearsay and listen what everybody else has to say about the guy, but not have a direct one-on-one conversation with David.
Hearsay and
that's what,
jealousy. Say jealous of him.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of jealous. I mean, there's a lot of people who are jealous of IW in general. You know, that's where a lot of that stems from. It's because they look at what we're doing, right? What all of us, you, me, everybody, what we're doing collectively in IW to this day, and they can't have that. They can't have the success that IW has. Well, even if they take guys from our Fed, they can't have the success that IW has because it's not about a character. If Pitbull were to leave IW now, IW will still float just like it did when I was gone. It's not about a character.
Yeah,
it's about
no one man bigger than
exactly. It's a bit more complicated than that. To a lot of these guys who hate on us, it's a bit more complicated than taking an individual fetter and thinking you hurt us. No, there's a system here. There's David, there's writers, there's us collaborating and getting our ideas out and getting our passions and shooting that across. And
what's
if
up,
you don't
champ?
have that, if you don't have that, you ain't got shit. So, you know.
Got the world heavyweight champion.
Oh yeah, hey Rocky Turber. Yo, let me tell you something about Rocky T. Let me tell you something about this guy. So Rocky T is somebody that I've talked to him personally about this. I let him know. I had messaged him a little while back, and I had told him, man, basically I told him how it would be an honor, to work with him, and how I had to recognize that he is one of the cornerstones of IW, and how he has carried that banner of IW for as long as he has. And I told him that it would be an honor to work with him and that I would be looking forward to it. You know what I mean? Rocky is one of those guys that I watch and I've been watching for a long time now. And I'm just like, man, this guy, he's awesome. He's a fucking wrestler, number one. He brought the eyes to IW that weren't there before.
He's one of the nicest guys to talk to.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like when I talked to him, he had no ego about it. He was like, yo, I'd be honored to work with you too. And he knew who I was. I was surprised by that. He said, I know who you are. You gotta tell me, So that was cool of him.
Watch this.
You have to do that. He could have shitted on me. He could have been like, fuck you. He didn't do that. He was like, yo, I know who you are, and it'd be an honor. And I was like so happy and I was honored by that. So Rocky is somebody I want to work with. So man, when we work together, I got so many fucking ideas about what we could do. You know what I mean?
I hope to have a one-on-one match. We did a little something at the Royal Rumble, a little back and forth, but I haven't had that match with him yet. But I'm looking forward to it when it does happen.
Right. I hear you, because the thing with me and Rocky is like, when Rocky came in, I was gone pretty much, right? Like I was kind of gone, and I would come in periodically, but I wasn't at my best. It was more just, I want to do a favor for David because he's my friend. And I knew that I wasn't at my best. So when I would come in, it wasn't anything to really write home about, right? Admittedly. I came back at WrestleCade and I did something. I did a great match, great build-up, great story with EAP, who's another cool dude.
Yeah.
And me and EAP, we tore it down, man. And I think that was when I realized, hey, man, I think I could give this another go. Like I think I could give this another shot. And
start getting the itch.
Yep. And me thinking that, I was also like, I can finally work with Rocky T. That was one of the guys that I always wanted to work with. And right away I said, I'm now back where I need to be. I have that passion again. I'm ready. And Rocky is one of those guys I want to work with. Of course, Zaki is another guy that I've worked with in the past. And we had a that's another favorite of mine. Is when the House of Wolves first came in, I had a program with Zaki that was amazing. And me and him both fucking killed it. And that was like when Zachy and me did our program. After it was done, Zachy fucking went to the moon after that. You know what I mean? He became a bona fide superstar, and he still is. And he was like that first kind of exposure to real wrestling for us, because these are wrestlers. The Wolves are real wrestlers coming in. And in my opinion, the Wolves opened the doors for a Rocky T to recognize us and say, oh shit, you guys got wrestlers in here. And then Rocky came in, and then he fucking built it even more, you know? And I like shit like that. That gets me excited, you know, because now you have Rocky's bringing in wrestlers that we know, that I grew up watching, like Disco, Jake the Snake, you know what I'm saying? And a few others. Fucking awesome.
2 years ago at WrestleCade, Rocky picked me to take on Sin Bodhi. He brought in Sin Bodhi, and I had a match at WrestleCade with Sin Bodhi.
That's pretty
that was
cool,
all because of Rocky T.
You see that, man? That's what I'm saying, man. Like,
very selfless individual.
Yeah, I can tell this guy is one of those guys where and people have told me about Rocky too. So it's not just me gathering things. It's people telling me like, yo, Rocky, like James telling me, David telling me, you know, how awesome Rocky is and how they want, like they would tell me, like David and James would both tell me like, yo, you got to work with this guy one day, Pitt. Like you have to work with him, man. You got to do it, you know, at some point. It wouldn't be right if you didn't. Yeah, because like before Rocky came in, everybody looked at me like that cornerstone. You know, I carried the banner for this shit. But Rocky took my place in that respect, where he took that ball and he fucking slam dunked it. You know what I mean? And
there's storyline right there.
There you go. There you go. We're building the storyline already, man. I see Rocky. Rocky said it'd be fun. Damn right, man. Damn right. Damn right.
Yeah. Who are some other guys you want to work with?
Well, like I said, I want to work with Zachy, for sure. We're working on a program now, so I'm getting that fulfilled. I want to work with Chad Bartlett again. I worked with him in the past, and we didn't gel too well. Not because of anything personal. It was just my character was on a downside. It wasn't what it used to be. I was burnt out, and I did not give that my full attention to detail like I did with everything else. Even when I did stuff with David, I still had attention to detail. Even though my promos weren't where they needed to be, I still paid attention to detail, you know? So I still helped David kind of carry that narrative of our storyline. With Chad, I didn't do that. You know what I mean? I was burnt out. I was fed up, and I had an ego about it. I was definitely feeling away because I felt like Chad was stealing my thunder at the time. And I can admit that, you know, as a man, I can admit that I knew Chad was better than me. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to admit it. And so I got a little bitter about that because I saw everybody, you know, everybody was on Chad. Oh my God, this nuke face. Oh my God, who the fuck? This guy is the shit. And he's the new Pitbull. And as soon as I saw people saying that, oh bro, I got pissed. And like not as a character, but as like a person, I got pissed, you know? And
right.
that was an aspect, and I shouldn't have gotten pissed. Hindsight being 2020, thinking back at it, I had no right to be upset. This is the natural order. This is a natural process. You're gonna have your time to shine. The next guy's gonna come in, and he's got to have his time to shine, and you got to put him over. And I didn't want to put him over. I said, you know, stupid shit. I promoed badly, really bad. My worst promos of all time were with Chad. And in a way, I didn't care, you know? And I want to rectify that. I want to give Chad that storyline that I should have gave him last time, that rivalry, because everybody wanted it. They were like, yo, Chad, where Chad came from competitive e-fetting. He came from battling people and burying people. And he's no script.
Shooter.
Yeah, so he's a battler, and I wasn't, right? So I was out of my element, right? And so Chad came in with that battle mentality. I came in with the script mentality. But at the same time, I tried to battle him knowing I was burnt out, knowing I wasn't going to give this guy my best. You know what I'm saying? And that was unfair. That was unfair to Chad. That was unfair to IW. So Chad is somebody that I ultimately, down the line, want to work with. And I want me and Chad to have a different relationship than we did back then. I don't, and I've said it a few times. I don't want Chad to think I don't like him, you know, because I do like him. And he's one of those guys that's top tier. He's one of those guys that's carried IW. He's still here. He still shoots fire ass promos. And the guy's a fucking legend. So I want to work with him. He's another one. Who else? I mean, I don't know if you want me to put you over or not, but I'm gonna put you over. I want to work with you.
I'm humbled
more than ever now, because I know what kind of person you are. You know what I'm saying? So for me, when I know that a guy is cool as shit, that's what makes me want to work with him more, because I have a relationship with the guy or the gal, and sometimes.
Yeah, man, I'd love to work with you in the future, man.
It's like Stacy. It's like when me and Stacy can say that shit to each other because me and Stacy are brothers. So when we cut promos and he's calling me a spick, and I don't know if I can say that. I don't want you to get banned or nothing, but
no,
he's calling me. Okay, so when he's calling me a spick and I'm calling him a cracker and we're getting personal, we're talking shit, you know, it's because we have a respect for each other where we're like, hey, can we go there? Yeah, we can go there. Let's go there. Knowing that after those promos are done, hey, brother, it's just business. We're still brothers. We're cool. And we fucking go on to the next shit.
He told me the story about how the first time he ever called you that and he called to tell you that he was sorry. And he was like, what are you talking about? Bring that shit.
Because in the beginning, because this was still kind of a feeling out process for me and Stacy. We still didn't really know each other too much. It was one of those things where when you would get booked back then in IW, you didn't really know ahead of time, you know, because we would just, the guys, David, Heath, Kenny, Josh, everybody that was writing the show at that time, early IW, they were just experimenting with who works with who, you know? So it's like, okay, let's put Pitbull with D-Back, who's a guy who's been gone. But his character was like this demonic baseball player. It's so ridiculous. So it's like, okay, let's throw Pitbull with D-Back and see what happens, right? And we kind of, you know, we meshed okay. So it's like, okay, Pitbull and D-Back are done. Hey, you know what? Let's fucking throw Pitbull and Malachi Osiris together and let's see what happens, right? And that's kind of how it was. The moment me and Stacy cut the first promos on each other, everybody was like, that's it. Those two guys are oil and water. Those two guys are so different from each other, but goddamn, they fucking mesh. So that was it. And David was the one to jump on that. And he was like, fuck, man, you guys are good together. Like, you guys are staying here for a while. I hope you know that. So, you know, David was the one that was like, yo, get to know him. And I'm sure he told Stacy, yo, get to know Jose, because you guys are going to be working together and see what flies, see what doesn't fly. And so we did that. You know, me and Stacy built that relationship. We said, hey, can I say this? And Stacy always respectfully, hey, Jose, can I call you a spick tonight? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. And then I'm like, hey, Stacy, can I make fun of how fat you are? Yeah, go for it. You know, so it was like that kind of dynamic every time. And that's why if you watch those early promos, even now too, but those early promos, that's why they were so fucking over the top. Because it was like, no, go more. Like Stacy would tell me, bro, go harder than that. Go fucking over the top. And then I would tell Stacy, do your worst. You know what I'm saying? So by the time we got to the end of it, that was the rivalry that put IW on that map. Because other feds were watching us and we didn't even know that. But other feds were reaching out to David and telling David, yo, like what you're doing here is really cool. You're not doing competitive feds. You're not doing at the time, you're not doing all this predetermined shit. you're writing scripts, and like, holy shit, like, who's that Osiris guy? Who's that Pitbull guy? And then when they saw us, they went down the line and saw everybody else doing this shit at the time. And it was fucking awesome, bro. Those are the fucking glory days of IW, man.
Whenever similar story when I got bumped up from Delta to Alpha, first guy he put me to work with was a faction called On Pink Riccio, which was me, Stacy, James Park, and Onions.
Onion, he's gone, man. He's got to come back too, man.
Me and Stacy, once I turned on Stacy, Malachi, we would have these promos, and he would always. I had this thing about going live. If you ever see me go live in a promo, you know that I'm really feeling it, because I've gone live maybe on, you can count it on one hand. Right. He would have this best way of enticing me into joining him in a live promo, and I would just freeze up, and he would start that laugh and that and just laugh at me the whole time until I got so frustrated I would just hit the end button. But
fucking Onions, man. Onions was one of those guys I used to watch all his promos. I always used to watch Onions promo because he's very believable character, and very unique. And I just thought he was one of the more unique guys we ever had, man. I miss that guy. I miss the character.
He put me over for the hardcore title. I actually waterboarded. I waterboarded him till the referee stopped the match.
Jesus Christ, man! He fucking ate the fetus of James Park.
Yeah.
So
that was probably the karma from the story you were telling.
Yeah. So, oh my God, wild shit we done in IW. Wild shit. So let me, because I guess there's an opportunity for me to know more about you. I would like you to tell me kind of how you got your start in IW, or what did you see in IW? Because I always like to ask people this. What did you see in IW that you was like, yo, this is the way I need to be?
Well, I was doing comp fed stuff, and I hated it. I was always told bad things about IW, but I never did believe it. I wanted to see it for myself,
Right.
I had tried to start up my own little fed one time, and I remember contacting David out of nowhere. I didn't know that David was who he was. I thought he was like a promo artist or something, and I asked him if he wanted to be on my show in a match. Justin Klein, I believe it was, showed him some of my work.
Shout out to Justin Klein too, by the way. I like that guy a lot.
Yeah. It was me and Titan were the Hell Brothers at the time, and we had a podcast, and all of a sudden had a caller, and it was David called in, and literally on the air asked if I wanted to come to Delta, put the world title on me, the Delta world title on me, saw a lot of good things in me. I had some ups and downs. I had some ups and downs with substance abuse, which I'm glad to say I've been clean for over a year now.
Damn right, bro. Clean for 6 years here, man.
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling when you get those things in
that first year, bro. That first year, ain't it a fucking milestone, bro?
Yeah, you start getting back things in your mind that you forgot you even had, and they start working again. And I think it's really showing in my promos. But yeah, I got started off in Delta, and I had a famous rage quit. And then I said, I'll give you one more chance. I'm going to put you on Alpha, though. And that's where I had a 5-star match with the guy that I call my mentor, 2 guys I call my mentors, Ethan Carnage and Thomas Austin.
Ethan Carnage is the fucking man, number one. I fucking love Ethan. I worked with Ethan before, and let me tell you really quick, I'm sure he's done it with you. Ethan is definitely the most detailed guy. in IW. When you work with him, how detailed is that guy?
Oh God.
Everything, man. He had he was even telling me like how to fucking promo against him. Like he was telling me what to say to him, and it worked. It was so good. It was easy, so easy to work with that guy.
And he's another one of those super nice, humble guys. So he may not agree to this, but there would be no DarKen GraVes if it wasn't for Ethan Carnage, because in Delta, I remember I shot like this 40-minute live video, and just introducing who I was. And I had got a message from him, and I was like, "Oh, holy shit!" And he said, "Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do something for you. I think I'm gonna go live on Delta. Give you a little rub." So he goes on Delta and tells this whole story about a kid named Little Jimmy that cut out his sister's voice box because they were picking on him, and people were picking on him. And he said that he saw that same look in my eye, and he told me that I was the beautiful match that was meant to set the world on fire. And that one promo, if it wasn't for that one promo, I don't think I'd be the same DarKen GraVes. And then our match,
those, you know, let me tell you, man. I put on the House of Wolves a lot. It's for good reason. I have a really good relationship with Johnny Christ too. So me and him talk on a regular, and I'm very fond of Johnny. I'm very fond of the Wolves in general. One, their contribution to IW. What they contributed can't be said enough. Two, the relationships that they have established with some of us. You know, I think some people kind of don't realize that these guys are actual professional wrestlers, and they don't have to fucking have these relationships with us. You know what I mean? Like, when you think about it, they're wrestlers and we're like the fucking, you know, we're promo people. Like, we're not even wrestlers. They could have easily had the attitude of like, yo, how dare these fucking guys? You know what I mean?
Right.
But they didn't have that attitude. They did not have that attitude. All three of them, to this day, very much always treated all of us who they've worked with a lot of respect, always very kind, and always willing to put us over when they didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, all three of those guys I can't say enough. Those fucking guys are awesome, man. They really are. All three of them.
I'm friends with Johnny as well, and he's made at least a dozen T-shirts for me.
He's
DarKen GraVes
awesome,
and everything. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Offset Press. I believe it's still the name of it. Most Evil, Truly Evil.
Truly Evil, right? Truly Evil clothing.
The best material, the best shirts. They last. Hit up Johnny Christ, baby, and get you a good T-shirt.
That's right. That's right. Good dudes right there. All three of those damn wolves.
And O'Shea and Bully O'Brien, real wrestlers right there that are nice guys that show that same.
I don't know. You know what? I don't know anything. Like, I see some of the promos, and I'm like, God damn, these guys are fucking. They're off the roof with their shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really know them much. These are like the newer guys that I haven't really gotten to know.
They've been around for a while, just not in IW.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
As a matter of fact, Bully O'Brien came up with the Bray Wyatt gimmick when Bray Wyatt was Husky Harris.
Oh shit! No shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Another really quickly, because we're naming guys that we really are. I wanted to ask you. Do you know who Legion is?
Legion Cole, yes.
Okay. I just wanted to. You know what? Legion's been gone for a while now, but let me tell you, man, he is one of those guys that is so top tier. He has a tier for himself on how good he is. Like, he could have been a wrestler's wrestler, and he would have been very successful because his character, the delivery, the way he does it is like I've watched every single Legion promo ever, you know? And I'm getting goosebumps now because the way he would talk to you was so calm, but it was scary, right?
Right.
And every word you remembered. You didn't forget his words. He was the first guy to come into IW with the complete package where he could talk, he had a look, and he had the visuals. The camera work, the visuals were fucking on point. I miss that guy. And he's a sweetheart. And he probably doesn't like to hear that, but he's a sweetheart on top of that. So I've had very good interactions with him, and I miss him. He needs to come back.
He would give me compliments on my promos, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
Yep.
Somebody might hack his account or something.
He's a really good dude, man, and he's one of the best.
So how about I got a little list here. This is a little
all right. Go ahead, man.
A little something I call. We've talked about most of these guys, but it's a little something I call dig your own grave. And
I like that.
you know how people do word association. Name one word that comes to your mind when you hear a guy's name.
All right. Yeah, this should be good.
I want you to give me more like a phrase or more like a a sentence.
Right.
Okay.
All right. This should be good. I've never done one of these before, so let's try it out.
Let's start out with who you was just in the ring with, Osiris.
Whew, one word. Oh man.
Or one sentence, a phrase.
I want to give these guys one word that describes everything. That'll
work.
I want to say for Osiris,
so many
I want to say, I keep thinking about legend. I keep trying to say legend, but it's more than legend. It's legacy. Osiris, when I think of Osiris, it's the legacy of IW. He's a legacy.
I like that. Adam Cage.
Versatile. The most versatile.
Chicago Savage.
You know what? I never really got to work too much with Chicago Savage. So unknown to me. Unknown. Maybe I could work with him more, but for now, unknown.
Thomas Austin. Okay.
Troll.
Okay.
The troll champion of the world. The guy is, I have never in my life, in the real world and in Fetting world, ever seen a man quite like Thomas Austin.
Same here.
He's a boomer in every aspect of the word, but the guy listens to fucking trap rap that like 18-year-olds listen to, and he's the troll of all trolls. The guy, he's one of those guys that I don't know if he's being for real or if he's fucking with you. And that's always how it's been. It's always how it's been with fucking Thomas, man. But I will say this. Let me give that boomer a compliment. He's actually a really nice guy. Like, away from the trolling, if you have a one-on-one conversation with him, he's very intelligent. He's a man's man, and he's very much full of wisdom. You can learn from Thomas Austin, and I know that's gonna fuck with people.
I've learned a lot
from Thomas Austin.
Learned a lot
man's
from
man. Yeah, troll champ. All right.
One of my Louisiana brothers, Bubba Boudreaux.
You know what? I've heard of I've heard about him. I've had some people talk about him, but I never worked with him, and I really don't know much about him. He's another unknown to me.
He used to wrestle as well.
Yeah, and I know, right? And I know he's shown some love to a few of my promos, and I've shown him some love back. I want to know more about Bubba. I want to know more about him. I want to work with him at some point, for sure. But he's unknown to me until I can get to know him some more.
And speaking of this, but this was actually going to be the next guy on my list. I was going to say Justin Klein.
Oh man, you know, because I gave Thomas the troll champ, you know, accolade. The most intelligent. The most intelligent. He's a smart guy. Very smart.
Definitely is.
Very smart. The most intelligent. I that's the highest accolade I can give Justin Klein.
Super entertaining as well. Let's see here. James Park.
Heart and soul of IW. You won't find anyone any more loyal.
That must be Justin Klein right there.
I'm assuming. I'm assuming. Justin is a guy that I also want to work with or against at some point. I wouldn't even mind being associated with him because he would fit.
Number one on my bucket list for years now.
Yeah, he would fit. We would fit. We would fit as a tag, as a part of a group, or even obviously against each other. So we would fit in a few ways.
Let's see.
Good guy too. Good guy too, Justin. Justin works. He works that character, but he's a good guy.
He is. He is. We used to go out and have milkshakes every Sunday. Justin, what's up with the milkshakes? I don't want to go get the milkshakes anymore. The root beer.
Oh shit!
Traveling
That's
the road.
dope.
No, it's not true. He hates that shit. Let's see. Two more.
Go for it.
Rocky T.
Oh man.
It is just lies.
Lies. Cornerstone. Rocky's a cornerstone. Cornerstone of IW.
I would agree. I said two more, but now I'm gonna give you. Now it's two more.
Go for it.
David Jones.
Cult leader.
He's gonna love that.
David.
Nephew.
No matter how.
Nephew
No
of
matter
Jim.
how. Right. Go ahead. What were you saying? Go ahead. Say what you were saying.
I always tell him he's the nephew of Jim Jones.
Jim Jones. No, yeah. You know, let me tell you something. David is so good at convincing people to come back to IW. It should be a fucking skill on his LinkedIn.
He's a great salesman.
He is. Nah, but you know, that's really what I think of when it comes to David Jones as the owner of IW, you know, the character. I think cult leader, but if I was speaking from Jose Perez, my friend.
And the last one, just to feed my own ego for a laugh for everybody, DarKen GraVes.
Damn, let's see. The future. The future.
Thank you.
Easy. Future. And a new friend. If I'm speaking from you know, from a character standpoint and a worker, I guess if you want to call us that, the future. That's what I see. That's what David sees. That's what Osiris sees. We've had conversations about you. We've all unanimously agreed that you are one of the guys that's the future of IW. When Pitbull rides off into the sunset again, and Osiris rides off into the sunset, and a few of us ride off, you'll be here. You'll be eventually continuing to push IW, and I'm pretty sure you'll become the cornerstone. I see what Osiris was telling me when he said, Jose, I see the same passion he has that you had when you were first here, where it was just this energy, it was the fun, it was just this almost this because that was the thing about me, and I know it's for a lot of us here. Sometimes we'll admit it, sometimes we won't. There, even though what we do in IW is predetermined, there is a competitive aspect to us where we want to have the best promos. We want to have the best video packages. We don't want any other rivalries to trump ours. So there's this competitive nature in all of us, you, me, all of us, that we have, which fuels the fire for our promos. We want to be the best. Chad, everyone. Maybe that's because you guys come from a competitive comp and that's your nature. Me, I used to play sports, so the competitive nature and always wanted to be the best. That's why when I was like Pitbull in the beginning, I wanted to be number one, and that's what I was. I became number one. I studied the game, I learned from the best, and I fucking became number one. And then I conquered that. And I think that in a way, that was great, but it also kind of killed me too, because then it was like, all right, I have nothing more left to conquer, so I'm kind of done. Now it's fun for me again, and there is really no competitive nature in the way where it's like, I want to be better than him, I want to be better than you, I want to be better than this. So when I see, the reason why I'm saying this, there's a point to me putting myself over, by the way. When I see guys like you, I remember why this is so much fun and why I want to be here. I don't want to miss out on this one, like I missed Rocky, like I missed Chad and Douglas O'Shea and Justin Klein. I missed that era. I missed it because I wasn't there. I could have been there, but I wasn't. When I see guys like you and I see where IW is right now, IW is coming back to where it's fun again. And it's not so much a business. We're not making money in this shit. We're promoting. We're having fun. And that's the point. So when I see a DarKen GraVes and I see you dress up and I see you get into this character and you believe in that character and the visuals and the way you deliver it, I see it. And like I said, Osiris, David, we all see it and we're all like, yes, that's why we started doing it. Because we believed that we were these characters and we wanted to have fun. So when I, Osiris, and some of us, when you consider old timers, see guys like you, and we see the Chads, and we see the Zacks, and the Rockies, and all these guys, all you guys that came after us and continue to do your thing, it's like, damn it, man, we're gonna be fine. IW is gonna be fine. When we're gone completely, IW's in good hands. Best hands it's ever been at this point, in my opinion. So, you know, you guys are the future, man. So DarKen GraVes as a character is the future. I like that character. I watch all the promos and I like it. As a human being, from Jose Perez to Matt, right? That's a friend. I see a friend. I see a guy who has the same likes as I do. We have similar backgrounds in some respects for real life. And I see a guy who I can say, you know what? I like this guy. He's a stand-up guy. And you know what I mean? And that's what it's about. It's about friendships and shit. As sappy as it sounds, it's about making friends too.
Feeling,
you know?
the feeling's mutual, man. Feeling is mutual.
So bottom line, man, that's how I feel about it. So
that, and thank you for the kind words, man. I'm really humbled by that.
Yes, sir.
I mean, what does that banner say? Back with a vengeance.
Back with a vengeance.
So I guess what I meant by when I made that is, what's next for the Pitbull?
Oh man. Well, what's next for Pitbull is getting into this situation with Zach Monstar. I requested it, I wanted it, I got it. That was I just saw. Yeah, I saw what Zach was doing now. I always watch Zach. Excuse me. I see Zach, what he's doing now, and man, if you want to get, for me, for the character, if I want the character to be taken 100%, not that it isn't, but just that extra, taking it there, I got to go against the best, right? And I got to go against guys who I have not really ever had long-standing rivalries with, like I did with Osiris, like I did with James and a few others. Me and Zach really only had one program, but it was enough, to boost his stock. Now it's different because we're on the same level now, because Zach is legendary now, right? And I'm a Hall of Famer. So now it's about seeing who really is the best. It's not about the new guy coming in and he's testing against me and shit. It's about this new, not even new, but it's about the respect. Who's better, truly? Pitbull or Zach? Which one really rules the fucking forest? You know what I'm saying? Whose doghouse is it? So it's like, that's kind of what I'm going with. And I know for a fact Zach's going to bring it. So I'm actually already getting, preparing ideas and mental notes about what I'm going to do for my first promo. I want to add some realism to it based off of what happened last Alpha. I want to work the injury and everything into that. I don't want to give too much away, but that's first on the menu, I guess you could say, for me. What's after is definitely working a program with you, because I already talked to David and Osiris, and so working a program with you, definitely
about the same thing.
Yeah, so working with you, working with Chad, obviously, that's a no-brainer. And then working with a Bubba Boudreaux or a Douglas O'Shea, those are the people that I want to work with, because you guys are new to me in a sense.
I'd love to see you work with a bunch of those guys. I don't know if you've seen this guy, Showtime.
Who's that now?
Justin Plummer.
Okay, no, but I will look into that now.
Showtime. He's the guy's got feature written all over him.
Okay, so I'm gonna definitely check him out. That's for sure.
Kerry, if you want to feel like we do, come on over to IW.
Who are these people in other comp feds and stuff? Other feds?
I believe she's in a couple different feds. I think she's in what was Damian Lee Guy? Damian Lee Guy's old fed, SPW or?
I have no idea, man.
You remember
I do not follow the other feds. The name is familiar. Name's familiar.
Joey Taylor too. He was
Joey Taylor. Shout out to Joey Taylor. Joey Taylor.
He makes bad.
He's good too. He's fucking underrated as fuck too, man. That guy's great on a promo.
He's
great.
Finally took the hardcore title belt from me, and I didn't mind it at all.
Nah, yeah, man. He's great. I worked with him before too. Me and him worked together. We did a cool thing.
We definitely had a great couple of matches with him.
Yeah. He does the alter ego, Chewy and Toxico Garcia.
Yeah. Vegas.
Oh my God, I always get a kick out of that. Always get a kick out of that. So ridiculous, but I love it. Hell yeah. But yeah, what was her name? Kiara, right? Was that her name?
Kara Cross.
Kara Cross. Will tell her to come to IW. She wants to feel like we do. You want that rush of adrenaline. You want that camaraderie. You want to get taken seriously. Come to IW. This is where it's at. #1 fed. Period.
If I can steal the old line from WCW, It's where the big boys play.
It's where the big e-fighters. It's where the biggest and the baddest and the best e-fighters play. That's why we get exclusive. Don't be afraid of that exclusivity. You're exclusive. That means you're in. You're in the best Fed. Why would you want to be anywhere else?
All right. That's another thing that gets. We could do a whole podcast on that about the bad shit that gets, but people just don't understand.
Oh, they're being selfish. Let me tell you, we can definitely do another cast on that. But I'll tell you really quickly, like, I don't understand why people have issues with the exclusivity, because to kind of put it in a nutshell, one, IW, in my opinion, is the WWE of e-feds, right?
I agree.
Right?
Correct.
Let's say David is Vince McMahon, right?
He almost is.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. If not, he's damn near on top of David's list of favorite personalities.
Oh, he is.
You know, so if Vince McMahon, right? We know this. When you're in WWE, you're exclusive to WWE. You can't go anywhere else.
All right.
So if you don't have a problem with your favorites being in WWE and being locked in the contract so that way they can't go anywhere else, why the fuck would an IW have something like that? That makes sense.
I think what people don't get is they think that it's forced upon them, when in reality it's a choice. And I look at it as like a brotherhood.
Yes.
Like showing your loyalty.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Because, you know, in IW offers things, and this is what makes us stand out and always has. IW offers things that the other feds don't. Creative control of your character. You get to book your matches, who you want to face. You have people that are extensively writing and you know, doing what do they do now? The live video results, right? And they're adding more
podcast, for example.
Yeah. There's podcasts, right? There's all these perks that you get, and you don't even really have to be exclusive. Again, I agree with you. It is a choice. But think about it. There's so many exclusive perks that you get with IW that you don't get anywhere else. Where else can you be made to feel that you are damn close to being a fucking pro wrestler than IW? We give off the pro wrestling feel. We give you the closest simulation you can get to actually touching a ring. You're working with some real wrestlers, for God's sakes. You can't get any better than that. You know what I mean?
I think it's where a lot of other feds. I think that's where the jealousy factor comes in, because they can't get.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. Is that, you know what it is? The guys and some of the gals that are jealous of us is really just because they wish they thought of it first. Number one, I mean, an IW in the original IW, you know, when IW first started, by the time I even came in, you know, we were kind of looked at as like a crappy fed. You know, I'm being honest. We were looked at as a low tier crappy fed with some goofy gimmicks and like some crappy scripted shit, right? When guys like me, Osiris, and some of the guys that have been there before I even got there, when we all started kind of deciding that we were going to take this and get way more serious with it, that's when those people that were saying we were crappy and not on their radar started getting on their radar. And they, in the beginning, would try to join us. It wasn't this whole hatred that they have now. They would join us. You know what happened, Matt? They couldn't cut it with us. And they would leave. And that's their fault. It has nothing to do with us. They would get upset. Oh, he's saying this about me. Why is he saying that? Oh, it's too racial. Oh, it's too violent. Oh, it's too... That's your fucking problem. That's not our problem. This is what we do, baby. So if you have a problem with it, you can go. And so these people left. And then all of a sudden, they have a hard-on for us. And so they would talk shit. They would send people to our Fed to fucking try to get information or try to bury us. And it wouldn't work because we buried them. And we would send them running, tail tucked between their legs.
Right.
And at times, David because David was the one taking all the bullets. I want to give the credit and make it as accurate as possible. David would take all the bullets, but we would fucking shoot the shots back. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was. David was our shield, but we would fucking fire at him. And it was all of us, bro. It wasn't just Pitbull against the world. It was Pitbull, Osiris, House of Wolves. You had a fucking army, Legion when he came. You had an army of motherfuckers that were like, hey, man, we love what we do. We love this organization. And if you want to fucking take it there, like, we'll fucking take it there with you guys. And we squashed them. Point blank. I hate to sound cocky and presumptuous, but we fucking squashed them. Bottom line. We went to Comp Fed. I went with David and Adam and Legion, and we went to a Comp Fed, and we buried them just to prove, like, we don't just do scripts. You want war? Like, we went to a Comp Fed. We buried them. We came back, and we were like, yo, we're the shit.
Something I always say in a lot of my promos, it ain't bragging when you're telling the truth.
It ain't bragging when you're telling the truth. And we're some nice guys. We're nice guys. And we used to have a gal here. She was a nice gal. But, you know, we were nice guys, man. We weren't like, oh, fuck you. We were just more like, hey, man, you guys started it. We finished it. But if you still want to come back again, come back. We were always open to play with everyone. Always open to play nice. Always open to bring people back with open arms and fucking welcome them back to the fold. It was them that fucking had the problems with us. And then they painted David as this dictator, sociopathic, whatever, when it's just David knowing that he's swimming around shark-infested waters, knowing that there's vultures ready to pick apart the carcass of IW if we ever died. And, you know, David had to be that way. But the reality was that, you know, we went from being, and yeah, rightfully so, we went from being a crappy Fed, low tier Fed, to the best Fed in like a year. Like, who does that? Like, we took Fedding to a whole new level. And look where it's at now, where guys like you could come in here, right? And fucking build on what we've done, have podcasts, have wrestlers, have all this shit that they don't have. They don't have it. So that's the way it goes, man. You know?
So
I'll always be passionate about IW. I will always be passionate about IW, no matter if I'm hating David one day, loving him the next. I'm always going to be passionate about IW. You're going to hear it when I speak because I love this fucking place, man.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I didn't realize until I just recently, you know, I was gone for a year. I was here for about 2 years, 2.5 years. Before that, gone for a year. And just coming back now, it makes me realize how much I just missed my family, you know?
Yeah, man. You know, like, IW is one of the ultimate forms of escapism. Let me tell you something, man. When I first got into the IW, I was a recovering drug and alcoholic, you know, a drug addict, alcoholic. I didn't know what to do. I was sober for like a few months by that point. What the fuck was I going to do? I can't drink anymore. I can't take drugs anymore. I didn't have a job at the time. Bro, like, I was living in a fucking YMCA. Like, I'm being as real as you can get. What was I going to do with my time? You know, I was looking for a job. I was trying to clean my act up. And then I found IW. And IW was a family that accepted me. I wasn't being judged by, like, my real family, you know? Right. These people didn't judge me. These people loved me, man. We had a camaraderie. It was an escapism. It was something that I knew I couldn't fuck up at, you know? And I don't want to make it a depressive thing.
It's your anger management. It's your therapy.
Yes.
It's your counseling. All in one, and it's free.
Man. Yeah, I got to create a character that in real life I never was. You know what I mean? I was the furthest away from that guy, and I got to create a character and be a character that I always wanted to be. You know what I mean? And at that time, that's who I was living vicariously through. Was a character I created, and David helped create. And James introduced me to this shit. Over the time, I started becoming more and more like that guy I created. And then it molded me into what you see now, where at times, you know, I can be a cocky motherfucker. You know, I can get into a fight or two. You know what I mean? But I can also stand my own ground, stand on my ground for my friends, and, you know, be this guy who won't ever take no for an answer. And whatever I fucking want, I take, you know, my goals, what visions, and things that I want in my life for success, I just take it. But that was because of IW. That was a character that if it wasn't for IW, I'd probably still be figuring out what the fuck I was gonna do in my life, man. And IW molded that. So that's why it means a lot to me. You know?
Same here.
We all come from backgrounds, man. I know I'm speaking a lot, but maybe some people need to hear this.
Well, no, that's what this podcast is for.
Yeah. We all come from backgrounds, right? We're all different races. We come from different backgrounds. Some of us had our parents, some of us didn't. Some of us came up fucked up, some of us came up good. But we all have backgrounds that are very unique to the characters we create. What never changes and what is always constant is the camaraderie and the brotherhood and sisterhoods that we create in IW. That's it. Bottom line.
I totally agree. Yep.
That's it. Join now, man.
You see what she wrote, right?
Yeah, I really want to join IW now. Look, I'm not trying to bury other feds. I'm just going with the pride that I have for IW and what I know from IW. We've always been a family. And some of us have very close relationships with others. You know, you've been around David, you've been around Justin Klein, you've been around some of these guys. It's real. It's not some made up shit that we say, oh yeah, I know the guy from fucking Messenger. No. Like, we know each other. Some of us are real fucking friends past this Facebook shit, past the Messenger shit. And some of us, like Osiris fucking sends cards to me on Christmas, for God's sake. Like, it's real, man. It's not a fucking gimmick. So I don't blame people for wanting to join, especially when they hear the way I speak. They're like, God damn, this is fucking awesome. Because it is awesome. It really is awesome. You know? This shit this shit is great, man. I can't say it enough. You love wrestling. If you really love pro wrestling, IW is where you need to be. You want to live vicariously through these wrestlers that you've watched over your lifetime, and you really want to just take it to another level. Hell, this could even be a springboard where Rocky T or the House of Wolves, one of these guys might see something in you and be like, yo, dude, you have the chops to actually do this for real. And you could fucking make an opportunity out of it. So, like, it's like there's possibilities, man. There's possibilities here.
Endless.
You know?
Possibilities.
Very much. Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
judging
sir.
by what all you said and the tone of your voice, you seem hyped and ready to go.
Oh no, yeah, bro. Like, you know, a couple years ago,
Is it safe to say we ain't seen nothing yet?
Yeah. I got a lot now. You know, I had to recharge. You know, it reminds me of my story, as crazy as it is, reminds me of kind of how Stone Cold Steve Austin was when he walked out of the WWE. You know, if you ever seen that story, you know, at the time he was burnt out creatively, physically. You know, he was going through a lot of personal shit. And I feel like that mirrors my life at that time. I was going through a lot. I needed to recharge my batteries. And it took me a little bit, but I recharged them enough where I felt, hey, if Stone Cold was able to come back to WWE and fucking have that one last match with The Rock and kill another Mania, I think I know I can do something too, you know? And I can come back, and that's exactly what I did, man. I said, fuck it. I came back. The thing that I did with Osiris really set it for me, because I was kind of second guessing myself a little bit. When I did the shit with Osiris, it really told me, yo, I can do this again. Who am I kidding? I can do this again. So
I enjoyed it. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
We got a few minutes left. I wanted to ask you this earlier, and
go for it.
so it's kind of going out of the time range. But When you were
That's fine.
gone, from IW, you were gone what, 4 years, 3-4 years?
I would say about three. Three seems logical.
Did you still watch the product, or did you?
I did. Let me tell you, man. I watched a lot of IW. Let me make sure I got good lighting here. I watched a lot of IW. I was paying attention, you know, for the most part. I watched Chad Bartlett become a star. I saw the rise of Too Fine, Justin Klein. Saw Legion's last hurrah in IW. You know, I was watching, unfortunately, we're not friends anymore, but I was watching Jay Diamond. I don't know if you know who that is.
We have
you know, yeah, you know, me and Jade, man, I used to call that girl my sister. But that's another story for another day. But, you know, I watched Jay Diamond get accepted into the Hall of Fame. You know, James Park becoming his 10 billionth new character. But I watched, you know, I watched, you know, Zach Monstar do his thing, the rise of Thomas Austin, you know, the Friendship Club, you know, I got to see a little bit of that. The rise of Rocky T, the eclectic rise of Rocky T.
So you just missed DarKen GraVes then. That was right.
I did. I honestly did.
That I was on my way in.
Yeah. Because then you know what happened? Like, you know what happened? Life started happening. Like, also what happened too is like my life started to change. Like, as I was doing IW in the beginning and the Pitbull character reached its peak, my life started to change in a positive way. You know, I got a job, you know, I got a girlfriend, you know, I started going to school, you know, my life took
real life came knocking at the door.
Yeah. And the adulthood shit came running and knocking, and I went running, and I started doing a bunch of stuff. So even when I felt at times maybe I could cut some promos, I didn't have the time. I didn't have a life, you know? And then, of course, you know, stuff happens, and then time passes by. I'm watching. I'm not watching everyone, but I'm watching the main stuff. And I'm seeing these guys, and I'm like, God damn, these guys are good. I wish I had that energy again. I wish I had that passion again. I just don't have it, and I'm not even going to try to push it. I would make occasional appearances, but they weren't up to the Pitbull snuff. And then the pandemic happened, right? And I had a lot more time on my hands. And so I kept watching. But then something kind of funny started to happen that wasn't happening before. I would watch some of the guys' promo, and then I would answer back without being recorded. So when I would watch a Chad promo, or you know, a Rocky T promo, or even David, I would have a reply, but I wasn't recording myself. But I would cut a promo to myself.
So kind of like air guitar, but air promo.
So it's like I was starting to kind of right. So I was starting to kind of sharpen that blade a bit every time I would watch. And then I moved to Texas, right? And then I started to really say to myself, man, these guys are doing really cool shit. And then David asked me, hey, man, could you do the WrestleCade with EAP? Could you please do it? And then I cut some test promos. I sent them to David, and David was like, man, I don't know what you're talking about, where you talk about you lost this and you lost that. You just lost confidence in yourself. The character hasn't lost confidence, but Jose Perez has lost confidence in himself to, you know what I mean, bring that character to where it needs to be. So
every time David talk about you, he talks about nothing but the confidence he has in you.
And that's really where it was at for me, because then, you know, David started to say, bro, like, I have confidence in your character. I wouldn't ask you to come to WrestleCade cold without any warm-ups if I didn't think you could still do the shit. And so I was like, yeah, you know what? Let me try it. And of course, you're only as good as your opponent. EAP is a tremendous, tremendous promo. He's a
Yes.
good guy too, real good guy, solid guy, man's man. And he helped me out too. You know, I don't give EAP enough credit. EAP helped me out through a lot of the promo, and so did James, man. James, let me tell you something. James and EAP are definitely two guys that I give credit to for helping me to kind of come back with that vengeance, as it says in your banner. And then I guess the final seasoning to make that steak sizzle was bringing Malachi Osiris back in to you know what I mean, where it started.
I was gonna
And
ask, is that what was that the final driving point that made you say, all right, I'm coming back for sure. I'm coming back for good, and I'm about to tear it up.
I think there were a few things. Definitely the Osiris stuff was certainly something that I saw as a great opportunity to come back and come back with great form, is what I'm trying to say, right?
Right.
But I'd be lying to you if I said that was the only component that brought me back. What ultimately
was there one individual thing, or was it a few put together?
It was a few components that put everything together to make it so I could really come back. Oh, the Osiris match was one. Talking to you was the second. Wow. Talking to David was the third. And then seeing Zach Monstar's rebuttal promo after I cut my live promo, and then Zach did his promo, and I saw it like 4 times. That told me I'm gonna come back like full force now. Like, it's not gonna be. Originally, this was supposed to be a one-time. It was supposed to be me and Osiris, the last one, and then I was gonna be gone. But then when I started talking to you, and then I started talking to David more, and of course Osiris, and then I saw the Zach Monstar promo that he did, where he kind of did the state. He kind of rebutted my State of the Union address kind of thing. And once I saw that, I knew I was gonna stay, because I was like, yo, these guys want me around. Like, these guys still want to work.
Talking about the one where I told you made it's so entertaining. You made a 30-minute promo seem like 5 minutes.
Yes, like, but that was after. What I'm talking about is the Zach Monstar promo, when he was talking about. Remember how everybody got upset because he didn't mention certain people, but he mentioned like Chad and certain other guys.
I seem to remember.
Yeah, yeah. So when I saw that promo from Zach, that was the one that told me I have to stay now, because like one, Zach reacted to my promo. That was a reaction to my State of the Union promo that I did when I first came back and did the live. And I addressed everyone, and I said, if you don't want to be here, get the fuck out. I'm a gatekeeper, and yada, yada, yada. And people reacted to it. And I don't know if you noticed, but it kind of set off a chain reaction where people started doing their own versions of a State of a Union address kind of thing. And for me, that was, oh, man, if I can still get people to react, then that's why I'm staying. Because that was always my thing. In IW, I want you guys to react. If you guys are not reacting, then I'm not doing the Pitbull service. But if you guys react and you're cutting promos and you're mentioning shit that I did and whatever, then for me, that's what drives that character. That's what makes me want to cut more promos. If Zach would have never did that promo in that way, I probably would have still thought of it as a one-time thing. And Alpha, and I would have been done right now. We would have been talking about me enjoying retirement. But because of Zach, because of the conversation with you, David, Stacy, and then seeing how people were positive about my promos, I was like, yo, I gotta stay now. I want to work with these guys, and I wanna jump into the foray. and I want to do it at least one more time. If this is like my final run, I want to go off as like, fuck, that guy was fucking good, and he is who he is, and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I love it, dude. And I've told you this. I told you this in personal, and I want to share this with everybody else. Your very first live when you came back, whenever you just sat there for about a minute and a half,
Yeah.
looking in the camera, and I looked into your eyes, and the goosebumps started getting goosebumps on top of goosebumps, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this guy's feeling it. He's taking it all in, and he's about to deliver. And he sure as hell didn't disappoint.
I'm gonna give you a nice little backstory to that. Before I did that live promo, I was nervous as fuck, and I was like, "What am I gonna say? How am I gonna say it? What am I gonna do? What are my mannerisms gonna be? What should I wear? Should I come with the same style? Should I go back to my original style? Should I do Big Money Pit?" I had all of these thoughts in my head, and I was second guessing myself. But then I remembered, it all goes away when I press play. And that's always been my mantra. It all goes away when I press play. And I press play. And it fucking, recorded. And that whole thing was me getting those final goosebumps and final jitters and the nervousness. The last of it, I was getting rid of it. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I got to get rid of it. And then once I had that final kind of shrug, it was gone. I was like, I'm on now, and like, fuck it. I'm just going to have fun. And then I just started saying shit, like whatever could stick. That was really, there was like no thought, really. It was just like, I'm just going to let it stick. What sticks, what doesn't stick next time. And then I did that 20-minute promo, and I went so over it, and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck did I do? And then I cut down, and then I did that last promo with Stacy, which I felt was my best promo out of the other two, because I was able to kind of bring myself back to that form where it's like almost every word is like a deep cut in your skin type shit. And it was like, I'm on a groove now, and like, I'm not nervous anymore. And like, it was, people liked it. So, but yeah, I was nervous. That first one, I was shitting bricks, man.
Could have fooled me, but
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
We're almost going on 3 hours, man. I could talk to you all night, but I guess it's the
funny. It's funny, real quick, before we wrap this up. It's funny because me and Matt were discussing what can we talk about for the podcast, and we were like, hey man, maybe it'll go 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half, and we were debating it was going to be such a short show. But then, like, we were like, oh, let's keep it organic. We'll see where it goes. And here we go in the almost 3 hours, and we could go 5 if we wanted to, I'm sure. So
we done grew a beautiful sour diesel plant.
I like it. I
want to give you the last words. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to say to maybe the newcomers in IW, or just anything you want to say in final? I always give the guests the final word, and I want to give it to you, Pitbull.
I appreciate that, man. You know what? I'll say this. First thing I want to say to the newcomers, the guys that are just coming in yesterday, have fun with this shit. Don't get too serious about it. Don't get overly competitive. Remember, this is not a race. Practice your promos. If you can, do a couple rehearsal promos before you make the big one. Write shit down if you have to. Write some stuff down. Keep it concise. Let it make sense. Let it flow into your narrative. And just have fun again. Just have a lot of fun if you're newcomers, man. Have fun. And don't be afraid to go against us. Don't be afraid to go against Pitbulls and DarKen GraVes and Zach Monstars and the Chads, and don't be afraid to go against us. That's how you learn, and that's how you become better. You know, the Pitbull became better because he worked with the best. You know, DarKen GraVes is becoming the best because he's working with the best. He was new too. I was new too. All of us were new at some point. So all you guys that may be sitting there and saying, "Oh, he's too good for me. I can't." Fuck that. Promo against us. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid of that stuff. Ask David to work with us. Ask David to work with the guys that you look up to, that you want to work with. Don't be intimidated because, you know what I mean, you feel like you can't cut it. You gotta fucking cut your teeth at some point. And don't be afraid to jump off that proverbial bridge, man. You never know. You might be the new best at some point. So that's my advice to newcomers. Another thing I will say, I want to thank IW for giving me the career that I've had, for giving me the second chances. I want to thank all the talent for always forgiving me and bringing me back with open arms. You know, I definitely want to thank fucking David for being who he is and forgiving me too. You know what I mean? And helping me fucking create this character, man, and doing the stuff that we've done. And I want to thank all my opponents, anyone that I've ever worked with. Yeah, you guys have made the character what it is, you know, going against the best. And, you know, the character became the best, man. And of course, Matt, you know, I want to thank you for bringing me on this podcast and being the solid dude that you are, bro. I would come back again anytime. I gladly would. And I won't be late this time. So
my pleasure. I thank you for giving me one of the most fun podcasts that I've done in some time. So
appreciate that, man.
It's been a
appreciate
real
that very much. Thank you.
Can't wait to work with you.
Oh yeah, it's gonna come. It's gonna come. That's for sure.
Slow burn.
Yes, sir.
Love a slow burn. All
That's
right,
it, man.
We look forward to seeing what you got here in the future. I know it's going to be amazing. Thank you for being on the Cemetery Gates, brother.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Salute, brother.
Peace, man. It's been cool to just shoot the shit with somebody that and